What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we knew that as the United States dips into the winter months, it was going to get colder. And as the weather turned, we are going to see heating bills go up. We're going to see gas prices go up. We're going to see a big economic shift. However, there's another problem. And this is going to impact more than 330 million people here in the United States. I want to address what that is. And I know a lot of people are questioning what is happening right now because we see some websites say, hey, this is good news. Then we see other websites and other people from Congress saying, no, this is bad news. So who do we believe? Well, when you read these articles, you see these interviews, you hear what is being said. Here's the main thing. They're both saying the exact same thing, but one is spinning it a little bit differently. And again, depends on who you ask. But here's what's happening right now. Some are saying the supply chain is getting better. This is good news. This is really good news if the supply chain is now getting better. Some say we are now out of the mess that we have been in the past 2 years. Okay? Some are actually saying, and White House officials at least want us to believe that this is the case. This is the case. The supply chain is getting better. Right? But here's the truth. The struggling supply chain is slowly fixing itself. It's kind of untangling this massive web that it created over the past 2 years. This is going to provide some hope for those that are watching inflation like a hawk, because as the supply chain struggles, we usually see inflation go up. Now, this is good news. We're also not seeing massive shipments coming into ports. We have, normal shipments coming in, which is good news. But again, that also means it's trouble for the economy because the consumer is not spending as much. Businesses are not buying as many goods. But it's good news for port workers and for our supply chain. And I've told you this before. When we see the supply chain get fixed, it is most likely going to be bad for the economy, which it now is. But here is where the good news ends. And this is why. We have a lot more bad news. We know there's many geopolitical tensions that put more pressure on our recent progress. It will slow things down. When we see stuff happen in China locks down, whatever they do, right? That is putting more pressure on us here in the United States. We know there's a shortage of truck drivers to deliver goods. If we don't have truck drivers, one of the backbones to the United States, what are we going to do? We're going to ship it all by railroads? Well, can't do that because we have a potential railroad strike in just 20 days. So going from truckers to rail is not a good option either. And we still need truckers. But not only do we have a truck driver shortage, we also have a shortage of work. And the reason for this is because larger companies have found ways to transport goods without the help of independent truckers. Just look at Amazon, for example. They started to hire their own truckers, their own prime truckers, right? We know Amazon is even looking into, actually doing it. They have their own airline fleet that they are using their own airplanes to transport goods. Similar like FedEx or UPS. Yeah, that's where they're at now. We also have a diesel shortage across the entire United States. Now, people keep saying, we have a diesel shortage. It's mainly in the South, mostly on the East Coast. Everyone else is doing good. That's not the case. If there is a shortage in the South, there is still a shortage. It may be, the impact may be minimal, but there's still a shortage on the West Coast. There's still a shortage in the Midwest. Okay? It doesn't just impact the South and the East Coast. It will impact all of us. But now, let's talk about some of the main issues that we are facing at this time. Railroads can carry about 30% of the U.S. freight. That's what they move, right? Over the past 2 years, they have laid off roughly 30% of their entire workforce. And a lot of it was due to the past 2 years, we didn't have as many goods moving up and down the West Coast. We didn't have as much going from the East Coast to the West Coast. It just slowed down. Right? Manufacturing slowed down. Businesses thought, all right, nobody's going to buy anything, so they stopped moving product. But that's not what happened. What actually happened was more people bought. There was more money circulating. We got stimulus checks. The whole economy got stimulated by the Federal Reserve, right? But here's what's happening now. We are now understaffed, which is creating more consistent delays in shipments. That's part of the problem. And if that wasn't enough, again, because that is having 30% of your workforce just completely go away, that's troubling in itself. But here's the other problem. If there's a railroad strike, the contingency plan at this time is to put all the cargo onto trucks. All of it. Every single thing onto a truck. Well, according to estimates, they say 169,000 U.S. manufacturing and distribution sites are at risk of not getting their products delivered. Yeah, big news. Experts also say that we have a shortage of 80,000 truck drivers. We're 80,000 truck drivers short of being able to deliver the goods that people want us to deliver. They also say it takes time to hire, train, and get the right drivers. Sometimes it takes a year to 2 years. And again, I'm not a truck driver. Honestly, I struggle to drive about 3 hours. I just don't drive. It's just not what I do. You probably noticed because I'm here all the time, every single day. I'm not traveling anywhere. Now, and let me know. Let me know how many of you think you could be a truck driver. I'm just curious. Like, could you drive, 4, 8 hours? I couldn't. I couldn't do that job. I couldn't sit for that long, right? I just couldn't do it. Now, here's something else. We obviously have a diesel shortage as well. So we have a truck driver shortage. We potentially have a shortage of products that will be delivered or even manufactured. We got a shortage of jobs for independent truckers, which is going to cause a lot of them to just leave the field. But then we have a diesel shortage. Now, this is really impacting the East Coast and the South, but it also impacts every single one of us. Whether we're on the West Coast, whether we're in a different country, doesn't matter. It impacts every single one of us. So here's what I can tell you. This problem is just beginning. A lot of people said, no, this is almost over. The supply chain, we're almost out of this mess that the past 2 years have put us in. However, this is just beginning because on November 19th, 2022, we could potentially see a railroad strike. That's one issue. We know the diesel shortage is actually getting worse, not better. We also know that many people are looking for new jobs. Well, when is a good time to get a new job? Well, a good time is over the holiday season when stores like Walmart and Costco and Target and Sam's Club and Kohl's, every single retailer is looking for a seasonal part-time or full-time worker. So when is a good time to get a new job? When there's more jobs available, and that is during the holiday season. So if we see truckers leave that field, leave that industry, and go into retail, well, now is going to be the time to do it. So we're going to see what happens moving forward, but what I can tell you is this problem is just beginning, and it will impact more than 300 million people here in the United States alone.